what you're looking at are just some of the projects that I have in bins, and I'm going through them and I'm taking things apart and I'm salvaging. You know, like here was a project that was lots of fun. I got this this Harbor Freight bending brake, and I decided to make a really wacky case. You know, didn't finish it because this went on to be redone again. Now, what this is you press this button, and it puts out a low frequency pulse with lots of harmonics, and it's based on an ICO Buzz-It type unit from the 60s. Okay, now the case was totally different than anything I've seen on the internet. Okay, inside there's the circuit. It worked. Okay, but you say, well, why didn't you use it? Well, something better, a better idea came along. I built it in an Altoids can. You know, you open it up, you could change the batteries. Okay, and it uses two chokes back to back induction. It uses a silicon battery, a silicon transistor, a germanium transistor. Okay, it has to be germanium, so you don't need resistors. It's really a simple circuit. It was made by ICO. I thought people would be interested in it. No, so you actually have to build it. I did a video on it, and it was like my other videos, 20 views. Yeah, and this was a board that went in the computer that I designed and built, and it went with a box that allowed me to send radio fax pictures into the computer. This is another board that's even more complex. It's got a filter on the back for the tone, so you get a clearer picture. Okay, but I realized that I built things 3 times. Now this is one of my early IF cans. Okay, what's inside of an IF can? I did 2 videos on that. Not enough use to keep going with it. I started building a radio, and each section, I don't know if this got one inside. Yeah, each section is a different section of the radio. And this is the IF. It's got an IF filter in here. Each Altoids can has a regulator. This is one of those NE 501s, whatever it is. Anyway, the mixer. This is the mixer, the IF, and it just became too sloppy. There's too many wires. You could build the same circuit up. Let me see if I got one here in the pile. I don't see one jumping out at me. Yeah, sort of. This one here is a mixer and a BFO on there, and when you build it on a piece of perk board, you have less wires than going module. Here's another section. Okay, yeah, I went really into it, and here's the thing: I have a habit of building everything 3 times. Okay, I'll build a big sloppy version, which this is a direct conversion circuit board that I built. It worked. Everything's fine. Didn't make it into a box because I don't need another radio. See, I sort of build the circuit and get it working. This is a 455 test generator. It's used for aligning 455 IFs. Real simple circuit. Built it, works, done. Okay. This here has a triac on it and 2 optical isolators, and you could change the speed of a motor, a 110 motor, by changing the digital. In other words, a 1 in there would be 1 speed, a 2 in there would be another speed, and a 3 would be another speed. And these are the touch-ups. Okay, and I used it on one of my CNC machines, and I'm like, you know what? I really didn't need to control the speed of the Dremel. What is people were saying, oh, you got to put speed control, and I was doing all the stuff they were saying. Waste of my time. Don't listen to a lot of those voices. They're people that don't build anything. This here was a circuit board that in this EEPROM is Morse code, and this thing typed out, is there anybody out there? And this is part of a transmitter for a long wave transmitter that I built. I let it run for about a week, and nobody picked it up, and that was that. Okay, but this was the board that set the frequency. Uh, this was the frequency for the transmitter itself, which was like 100, 150, 135 kilohertz. Anyway, long wave. And then it also had dividers in here, which would control a bunch of counters, which would access this EEPROM, and then it would put out the, is there anybody out here, in Morse code. Yeah, I get crazy. Okay, and there's the wiring on the back. Let's see if the camera's in focus today. I noticed one video I did, it went out on me. Yeah, today I really can't get into my computer. One morning my watch didn't work because it needed a battery. The next morning my computer had a problem because it needed a battery. And then Windows keeps updating the last few days and it messes me up. Here's a power supply. I built a lot of these. These are like modules. I might keep some of these, but this is a 5-volt module. Could be a 12. I can't see it. I have my glasses on. But this is how I build my power supplies. They mount with four bolts in the corners. This one's from a transmitter, and I could tell because the full-wave bridge here has 4 capacitors around it. That gets rid of hum that's caused by a rectifier. And then I learned about hum modulation. Coming in on the AC line, you have to put some capacitors to ground. Otherwise, the oscillator from the transmitter goes out, goes through the wall, gets in the AC line, comes back in through the line cord and back into the transmitter. So you get hum on your transmitter carrier, and you think it's filtering, it's not. It's hum modulation. I learned that. Some guy helped me with that. I had never heard about hum modulation, but he was a transmitter expert. Here's another power supply. This is vector board. It's baby blue vector board. They haven't made that in 20 years, but this will be taken apart today and salvaged. Okay, that's what this is. This is boards that have to be salvaged. These are amplifier boards without a transformer, without an IC. It's discrete component amplifiers. I built 3 of these. They're hanging in the back here. See, like I said, I start building things in threes, and then oh, you can't have too many of them, so you start building. And this is how your brain works on you. Yeah, here's another one down here. Actually, I built 4 of them. Jump to a step. Yeah, here's another one. So there's 4 total. I'll keep some of them. And here's a 455 BFO assembly. See, this is how I build stuff. I go on YouTube and I see how people cobble stuff together, and there's no real thought. This is a front end board for direct conversion. It's got 2 toroids I wound, and this, like, again, if you notice, all my boards have 4 holes in the corners, and they go in it when I start building it. The first 2 holes are in here, then I build, and then I put my final 2 holes, and then I cut the board. So when you look at it, it looks like, wow, that's really laid out nice. Tricks, years and years of tricks. This here is a switcher early piker board. This is it's not just a plain, what would you call it, a driver board for 3-stepper motors. It's got switching in it, so it reduces the current and also improves the speed of the motor. But this is how I build it first before I have a circuit board made. You know, I know a lot of people. I got involved with them. They jump right to a circuit board, and they put a bunch of mistakes in the circuit board. Then they start emailing me, thinking that I can help them with their project over the internet, and it's very tough to do. Oh, without pictures too. And then in this box up here, more. I have 5 boxes of circuit boards, and this it'll blow your mind if you saw what I built. And I realize it's a sickness. Now, I was watching Chango, and he bought a test bed. He calls it, I'll call it a test bed for doing black and white TVs. And I looked at it, as soon as I saw it, 8YP4 hit in my brain. My dad had a TV repair shop, and after he died, I kept looking at this box for a brand new 8YP4. And at that time, there were less and less TV repair guys. There were no guys on the side doing TV anymore. Everybody got the hell out. And it went in the garbage in the original box. And he went and just bought a fixture. And then he mentions, you hear him say, sickness. This is a sickness, okay? He realizes now he's got a problem. I know he's got over 100 television sets in his house, okay? That's nice. Everybody needs a hobby. This is a frequency reference board for calibration. It's got 3 crystal oscillators, or 4 crystal oscillators, 5 crystal oscillators, and a divider. This gave me 5, 10, 6, 12, maybe 15, I don't have my glasses, and 20 megacycles, or megahertz. And this is for calibrating a radio, you know, dead on when you're into it. And then this circuit board, if you know what a VT101 is, I can't remember the name of the company. It's there's 3 or 4 boards that go in a monitor. I actually created a monitor keyboard unit to talk to a decoder board I built, and I just saved it because, you know, I really did a nice job on it. And some of this we'll save as a keepsake, but some of the stuff, like here's that Huff and Puff still floating around. Did a really nice job on it. Unfortunately, this circuit does not work correctly. Like I told the guy, you might want to put, here's a watch crystal in here. You might want to put a disclaimer on it, because people looking at the circuit board and his website would think that the circuit actually works. And that's what happened to me, okay? And then, of course, this is coming apart. This is a Franklin oscillator, okay? And your volume, your frequency control, display on and off. It takes one of these modules. And then you say, well, what's wrong with that thing? Well, first of all, that frequency counter, one of the digits bobbles that shouldn't be bobbling, okay? I proved that by buying another frequency counter module, and the display does not bobble. It's a software problem. And I'm not getting involved with any of that software problem. Any of those people in another country, if you saw my last video, I found out that the clip that holds the camera in covers the microphone, okay? And I did a video on that, and it's going to go 25 hits, okay? It's a waste. Most of this stuff is just a waste of my time, and collecting this stuff is a waste of time too. This is called toxic clutter. Now, toxic clutter, what it is you go to do something else, and you open one of these bins to get something, and then you see a whole bunch of stuff that you've built in the past, and you remember every battle to fix it. It's like, this is a digital thermometer, okay? And there's actual wires here. I don't know if you can see them. Okay? This is laid out like a circuit board, okay? I love doing this stuff. I bought a bunch of LEDs. Here's a display for the thermometer. Nice and giant display. They go bad after a few minutes. Look at it. All that wiring, China on the label, again, got me, okay? They can't even make LEDs that are good, or they just sell the rejects and put them on eBay and get people like me to buy it. And then that's vector, not vector board. It's got a name. It's a type of vector board. But you take a drill bit and you grind away, and it has strips of copper, and you break it in certain places. Vero board? I think it might be Vero. All these different names of all this stuff. You know, I'm 70 years old, and I built so many things, and I bought so many losers. This here has an isolation. It's got drivers on it. It was going to be for my my electronic tube tester, digital tube tester. Well, this board is all wired wrong. Okay, that's all I'll say about it. Go read up on this board. There's models that are actually wired right. I got one that's wired wrong. It would require me to sit there for about 4 hours cutting traces, rewiring, all because China on the label is shit on the table. Okay? They copy stuff, but they don't know what the hell they're copying. And when I saw that action camera have low volume, I was like, did these people ever actually try this stuff out? Okay, They stole the software for stabilization. All right, that's the easy thing to do. But then you got to do the circuit with the microphone, and they don't know how to do that. So people, oh, it's the best camera for under $100. And then you see the critical reviews. The volume's terrible. And then to top that off, the clamps that hold the camera in actually cover the microphone. They put the microphone in the wrong spot. So, and even the clamp they provide covers the microphone hole. A hole, one of the holes. It's mind-boggling. That's why I tell you, I really need another hobby. Okay, this is really hard stuff. And, you know, like I said, I built a digital monitor to interface to a stupid decoder I built. And, yeah, it just goes in waves in different directions. And I can't even go into conferences because the bullshit artists are in there. And they don't build anything. After they come home from work at night, they sit in those conferences, and they join a bunch of conferences. And they spew their crap between all these conferences. And this one guy, I was building a transmitter, which I don't have, it's in the other room. And I almost had it done, and I just asked a question. And the guy helped me with the hum modulation. And this guy went and got my schematic, and then he redrew it in his handwriting and put mistakes in it. And he put up on there. I found out from a friend, he does that all the time. He wants to be somebody, but he doesn't know anything. So anytime someone starts showing a schematic, he immediately redraws it like a retard and gets it all wrong. And I unjoined that conference. I was like, I had enough of this place. Oh, and then there was one guy, he was supposedly double checking my schematic, but he was using different parts. And he says, I didn't like the results. He made it fail, okay? And meanwhile, I got the transmitter operating in my house. I'm sending music all throughout the house to any kind of radios and stuff. But anyway, you can use Bluetooth now. But it's hilarious stuff what you put up with people and the circuits themselves and the part supplies from China and you know, Windows updating. You're starting to do something now. Windows wants to reset. You know, a battery goes bad. You have to go to Walmart. You can't just buy one battery. You got to buy 2 batteries. Yeah, the whole thing is just snowballs. And the more projects you build, the more problems you have, and the more clutter. But you get smarter, but that smartness that you learn, and you learn how to fix things, and you learn how to build things, design, it's useless now because everything is cheap modules from China. And you're talking to the wall when you try to explain to certain people. Not everybody. Some people are really sharp. I watched one guy that's into, he's from New York, he's into metal detectors. And he finally took what was considered the best metal detector back to a park that he's done 100 times. And he actually found stuff that was deeper. So he realized that the company that made it, that claimed it was correct. Okay? But he said, I think he says like had 35 different metal detectors. And the price point, he was talking about the price point. Up at $300, you got 75% of the better metal detector. But for $1,000 something, you get the better metal detector. And bicycles were the same way. It costs a lot more money to have a more precision bicycle that was lighter, that was better built. And for $200 years ago on a bicycle, that was a really good bicycle for the average person. But if you're in on a bicycle like I used to be, 8 hours at a time, you put in the extra money, and there's a big difference in the way that the controls work. Just the bike overall, it rides smoother. It's more stable than the cheaper bikes. You can also put better tires on it. But for $200, you get very close to the $1,000 bike. And then for another $800, you go into another class. And after you bicycle ride on the $200 bikes, you basically buy one of the better bikes, and then you don't want to go back. And it's like stereos too. You have a cheap stereo, you're absolutely happy with it, and then one day you buy a better one. You put the extra money in, and now your ear gets trained to the better stereo. And then when you go listen to the cheap stereo, which you loved, you're like, I can't believe I like that. But it's all a matter of what you can afford at the time, and happiness and joy. You know, happiness. I was reading up on the difference between joy and happiness. You enjoy doing certain things, and then you hope to get to a certain goal, and you'll be happy, but you won't be. And I can tell you, no matter what you build in electronics, no matter how hard it is, all your accomplishments, you do come to an end. Okay? Now I'm telling you, I'm watching these other guys' videos that I've been watching for a few years. They're not. Let's just say they're repeating themselves. They're taking the easy way out on the videos, and that's because the amount of followers is dropping off. Maybe the money they're making is dropping off. I don't get any money for my videos. Okay, but I just wanted to show you what toxic clutter looks like. And you know, I go in there and I like, man, I think I even another one of these. Or this is the I have one of these digital thermometers that has 3 boards. It's much bigger, and this is based on a not Radio Shack, Pop Electronics. I redesigned it for less chips. There's blanking on the display, so you don't see the display when it's updating. I put a lot of work into it. I think that's it. All right, that's it.